What's up, guys? We are back. Fitness Profit Multiplier, Anthony and Jimmy. Today, we're going to be discussing yawn meetings. They're boring. Hate doing them.
See, Anthony hates meetings, but
no, I don't hate meetings. Actually, I really don't. I hate when they don't stay on. We're going to talk about it, but I hate when meetings are random.
yes,
right? Like I'm going to spoil everything that we're going to give here, but I like having regular meetings on my calendar, but I hate when meetings just go out in left field. And that's what makes meetings so boring. And that's why your staff hates them. That's why everyone else who does them hates them, because sometimes they're just like, this is so stupid. Nothing is getting accomplished here. This is a waste of time. I hate those kind of meetings. But I like structured meetings, which is what we're going to talk about, and one of the points here. But so 3 steps. 3 steps. Let's go into it. So the first one is the layout of the meeting or the structure of the meeting. So that is key. Like I said, when you're trying to do, like, let's just say it's a staff meeting and your mind is all over the place, you're frazzled from, something that might have happened in the gym earlier, or you had a random thought that you wanted to cover. When there's no structure to the meeting that you're going to have, you're going to go down rabbit holes that will solve zero. It's just human nature. You're going to start talking about this, then your other trainer is going to start talking about a client, and it's just going to end up down the rabbit hole. Whereas if you have a structured meeting where, let's say it's your weekly meeting, and part of the weekly meeting is to explain, okay, what are some client red flags? And that's where everyone kind of vents about the client. And then you move on from that topic and stay on track. Structured meetings, way better of a solution when it comes to meetings. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I love this topic. I know there was like a little yawn gesture in the beginning from Ant, because meetings can be one of those topics that's like, crap, another meetings. I just want to train people and sell people and grow my business and all that stuff. This meeting is pointless, right? But I love talking about meetings because they are, when done correctly, are such a big part of your of the structure of your business and getting your team together. Meetings done properly help you to get a pulse on your business, help you to make sure that everything is functioning properly with your staff and your clients, and it gets you guys all on the same page and builds your culture together. So when done properly, you can really improve the value of the service that you're giving to clients, thus helping with retention, helping build a better business. And you can know where your team members are at with their vision, their mission, how it's aligned with yours, and how you're going to actually grow your business moving forward. So properly structured meetings, though. It's not just we have a meeting every Tuesday and Thursday and we're just going to meet, right? There needs to be a laid out structure to it. And I don't know if you were going to go through your structure, how your meetings are structured.
You can go through yours. This is your topic, man.
I love it. I love this stuff. So if you guys aren't familiar with level 10 meetings, we do kind of a permutation of that. It's entrepreneurial operating system stuff. So look that up. There's a form you can find on their website. You can just download, and we use that PDF to kind of structure our meeting with our team. But you want to have structure to your meeting where you talk about the same things every week and see where people are at. And you want to make these succinct. You want to make these to the point. You want to make these so that your staff doesn't feel like you're just talking about random stuff, right? So like Anthony had touched on, client red flags, right? That's one of the topics that we talk about. So start off the meeting, get everybody in kind of a good mood. You just say, how's everybody doing right now? Scale 1 to 10, what's going on with you and your life and everything, right? Because you care about your staff, right? And our level 10 meeting is really our core. And then we have a trainer meeting as well. But the level 10 meeting is probably more appropriate for this context with this podcast right now. So our core members of our team, the full-time employees that have additional tasks other than just training clients, are going to be involved in this meeting because they're going to be involved in the numbers. They're going to be involved in what's going on, all this kind of stuff. So you start off the meeting talking about numbers. Every week you talk about numbers because if you don't track it, you don't change it, right? So if you're not tracking your numbers and you have no numbers to talk about in this meeting, that's the first step to change. But we need to know our numbers. We need to know our drops, our freezes, our cancel, or our drops, our freezes, our client growth, and clients that are potentially redlined, all that kind of stuff, right? So we first talk about our metrics. What do our numbers look like? What do our numbers look like over the last couple of weeks? What does the trend line look like? And if there's an issue, like a retention issue, like your retention is not great, you drop that down and talk about how you're going to fix that later in the meeting. So at the beginning, you're just taking a snapshot of everything, okay? What's going on with the numbers? Are there any projects that each member has to, or each member of your team is working on this quarter? How are they doing on those projects? Like right now, one of my staff members is working on programming for a youth sports camp that we're doing over the summer. And so I'm like, are you on track, off track with that? Where are we at on that? Right. One of my other team members is working on improving our nutrition coaching component of our business. So are you on track or off track with this? Talk about the due dates and what's going on with that really quickly. Okay. Then we can dive into those more in the individual meetings I have with those individuals. But in the group setting, we talk about, are they on or off or where are they at? Just so we have a good pulse of what's going on. We go over attendance. What's going on with our attendance report? Then when we go through our attendance report, we start talking about red line clients, red flag clients, or yellow, whatever, wherever they exist on the spectrum in terms of their risk of cancellation. We'll keep dropping that down and go into client issues like injury mechanisms, complaints, and positive things that have happened in the gym. Okay. So we're going to go through those things. Each member of the staff has to contribute something to that conversation. So we're going to list something positive, list something that needs to be improved upon. And as we continue to drop down the meeting, we go into each one of those things and dive into them more readily after we touch on any employee issues. So employee issues, this is the time in which your staff has an opportunity to air out any of the beef that they have with another employee in regards to efficiency or in regards to taking on workload or support that they need or whatever. We have an opportunity where it's a comfortable place, a safe place to talk about what things are frustrating one employee about another employee in a group setting so that we can squash it and move on, right? And correct the inefficiency or explain more of what's going on with that lapse in communication. We don't have a lot of issues during this time, but it's something that can start to really improve the quality of your coaching and the quality of your team, because we need to have those opportunities to talk about what it is. And I'm open to my staff saying to me, you know, Jimmy, I don't think that this thing that you're doing is working. And I'm totally open to it in that context of that meeting, of that scheduled direct time. We drop those things down, look at the solutions of those things. Then we will give everybody a positive affirmation based upon our core values. So everybody has to give one out to someone. And then the last part, we rate the meeting, right? Rating the meeting is key here. So your staff will tell you how good the meeting is based on a scale of 1 to 10. And then you ask them what could be improved or why they scored it so high. And then you take those notes for the next meeting to make things better. And predominantly it's predominantly when you look at it, when you get low scores, it's because you went off to Pluto and started talking about something random. So the meeting was succinct.
Yeah, exactly. So step number 2 with having successful meetings, aside from the good layout, is going to be consistency. People thrive off consistency. People want to be led. People don't want to be the leader. So you have to show up as the leader consistently. Every week we have the same meeting. I have a retention meeting that I do with my general manager. I have a staff meeting that I do on a training meeting, like with the trainers, and I also have our weekly meeting with everybody as a team. That's consistently every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then again, and we have sales meetings in between that. So we have Tuesday, we have 2 meetings. Wednesday, we have a meeting. Thursday, we have a meeting. Friday, we have a meeting. That's just the way our structure goes. The salespeople, whoever's the salesperson's in those sales meetings, so the trainers aren't in them, but it's consistent every week. We don't miss. And that's the key, because then the staff gets used to the consistency of it, and they learn from it, and they like, usually, we say that people don't like meetings, but they like learning, and they like showing that they're improving. And in every one of these meetings, you're kind of showing them, like, especially in the sales meetings and stuff, well, look, this time you did this and you learned this, and now this is happening. So that's the second thing, consistency. Jimmy, I'm sure you're consistent. I don't think you want to add anything to that, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. And the third step is, like Jimmy had mentioned, I'm going to let Jimmy riff on this, but it's basically rating the meetings. So you kind of touched on it, but you could go into it a little bit more.
Yeah. So you want your staff to rate the meeting, because it shows how engaged they are and what you're actually talking about in the meeting. And then you want to ask them follow-up questions about their rating, because that also shows how engaged they are in the meeting. If they're not engaged in the meeting, then what rank can they give it, and what feedback can they give you? If they can't give you feedback or give it a ranking, then they're obviously not paying attention, right? So that's one reason why you do the ranking. The other reason why you do the ranking is because you want to constantly be improving the efficiency of that meeting time, because you don't want that meeting time to waste your coach's time or your employees' time, because they have plenty of other things to do. If you have a busy facility like Anthony does, or like I do, your coaches and your salespeople want to coach, follow up with leads, get things done, get back to work, right? There's so many times when we'll have a meeting, we break the meeting, we're done, and my team immediately flips their chairs around, gets back on their computer, and goes back to the task that they were doing, because they were busy, right? They have limited time. So why would I spend an hour of their time a couple times a week wasting it with something that's not allowing them to get their job done? So we have to rate the meeting, because if we're getting ratings under, like, you're getting ratings like 7 or under, is probably some area for you need to really improve some stuff. If you get over 8s or 9s, you're probably in a good place. My team is a little bit harsh on their ratings, because every time I'm asking them, I go, well, why is that not a 9 or whatever? My employees are kind of like, well, for it to be a 9, it would have to be perfect. I'm like, well, how would it be a 10? And they're like, well, there's always room for improvement. So I'm like, okay, so we're never going to get a 10 in our facility. Just with the way my staff is. But so if we're getting an 8 or a 9, it's a pretty damn efficient meeting. And the number one reason why you're getting lower scores on your meetings is because, like I talked about earlier, you go off to Pluto, right? You go down a rabbit hole of like complaining about a specific client, or trying to get to the bottom of a specific topic and diving too far into it, having too much input, as opposed to, here's the problem. What solutions did you guys come up with to solve this problem? This is the solution we're going to go with, right? That keeps the meeting at a high rating, because if you're like, well, we could do this, or we could do that, or we need to talk about this or talk about that, and you dive into the science behind how you're going to change it, or what the solution looks like, all this kind of stuff, it's valuable to a degree if you really need to iron those things out. But in reality, you want to keep it efficient. So problem, solution, and your staff should be coming up with solutions to the problems they're bringing up before they bring them up, right? Which something you need to train them on. Problem, solution, do we do it? Do we not? And then you move forward. So that's what's going to give you high ratings in your meetings, because everybody wants efficient meetings, and you want your whole team on the same page of what is efficiency, and having those efficient meetings so they actually want to continue to attend them and see the value.
Yeah, agreed. And guys, if you want help with any of this stuff, we could definitely walk you through some stuff and look under the hood of your business to help you improve things and scale and earn more profits and more freedom. Just click those links below. And until next time, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, have better meetings, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.